When did you realize you were being gaslit by your entire family? My mom called my little sister because they both died during childbirth. One day she was talking about how excited she was for our family to grow. The next I was crying in the hospital chair beside her lifeless body. The nurse who delivered my sister was this woman named Sandra, whose hand kept lingering on my dad's shoulder, whispering that everything would be okay. I thought it was weird how she already knew his name was Michael and not Mr. Davidson like all the other nurses called him. But I was 17 and had just lost my mom, so I didn't think much about it at the time. Dad married Sandra 6 months later. I remember sitting in my English class when he texted me about proposing to her. All I could think about was how mom would never get to see me be an English teacher just like her. And now dad was replacing her like she was nothing. Sandra moved in right away and started redecorating everything. She took down mom's wind chimes from the front porch because the sound gave her migraines. She replaced mom's lavender bushes with some ugly modern sculptures. Dad just nodded along whenever she suggested changes like he was sleepwalking through life. The first time Sandra mentioned nursing school was when she was packing up mom's books for donation. She held up mom's annotated copy of Jane Eyre and said, "You know, Emma, you'd make such a wonderful nurse. Just like me. It's such a stable career." I just took the book from her hands and went to my room. Dad followed me and grabbed my wrist hard enough to leave marks. "You need to respect your stepmother," he said in this quiet voice that scared me more than yelling. That was when I realized it wasn't just my mom who died that day. The man who I thought was my dad had died too. Things got worse after that. Dad would blow up over nothing, like when I left a water glass on the counter or came home 5 minutes late from school. Sandra would stand behind him during these lectures with this little smile plastered on her face. She started intercepting my mail and monitoring my phone for my own good because I seemed depressed. I threw myself into my writing and English classes. It was the only thing that felt real anymore. Mrs. Peterson helped me enter this statewide writing competition, and I wrote about grief and loss and finding your voice when everyone wants to silence it. When I won regionals, Sandra's face went cold. "Writing doesn't pay the bills," she said over dinner. "Nursing does." The acceptance letters started coming in March. I'd applied to 8 schools with amazing English programs, but somehow never saw a single envelope. Then my neighbor Mrs. Chen knocked on our door holding a stack of mail that had been delivered to her house by mistake. All my acceptances, including a full ride to my dream school. I confronted them that night and found out Sandra had been deleting my emails from colleges and submitting nursing school applications in my name. Dad broke my laptop when I refused to consider her career choice. Slammed it against the wall while screaming about ungrateful daughters. Sandra just sat there filing her nails. That's when I started digging into mom's death. Something Mrs. Peterson said about mom being so healthy during her pregnancy kept nagging at me. I requested the medical records and found weird gaps in the timeline and medication doses that didn't make sense. Then I found dad's old credit card statements in the garage showing hotel charges from 8 months before mom died. Hotels he'd gone to with Sandra. Everything came to a head on my 18th birthday. I'd gathered all my evidence, including a journal mom had hidden where she wrote about her suspicions about Sandra. I announced at my birthday dinner with all our relatives that I knew about the affair. I showed them the proof while Sandra tried to claim I was having a mental breakdown. But the worst part came when I was packing for college the next week. I needed my birth certificate for some forms and found it in dad's filing cabinet. Right there under father was a name I'd never seen before. Marcus Williams, some guy mom dated before meeting dad. Suddenly everything made sense. Why dad had always been cold to me even before Sandra. Why he'd seemed almost relieved when mom died. Full story on channel, link below.